Hi everyone, Sandy here. Welcome to my channel. This is a tutorial on how to make a junk journal using Country Craft Creations' brand new hybrid Petals and Letters Junk Journal collection. Can't wait to get started. I'll go over the basic supplies that you need in the next clip, so stay tuned. I am so excited to get started on doing a junk journal with this new paper collection from Country Craft Creations, the Petals and Letters. I'm going to go over some of the supplies I'm going to be using. Of course, I may add into this as the video goes along. But to start off with, I am going to be making my cover out of heavyweight chipboard. So I have two pieces here. This is the size I want my cover to start out at. So I have cut two pieces that are 6 by 8.5. So that is what I'm going to make my cover out of. And then I've decided to wrap my cover with the burgundy artisan cardstock. I have two sheets of the 8.5 by 11. You can do a 12 by 12 and cut it down to what you need. And I'm going to be wrapping that. So I'll probably trim this down so that I have just an inch all the way around. So that's going to be the cover. And then you're like thinking, well, what about the spine? I'm going to be making the spine using the branding cover sheet here as a support piece in there and some of the pattern paper. I want a curved soft spine. I'm going to show you how to do that. I did that in my New Year's Eve Bridgerton junk journal, but my old computer dumped the segment. I'm showing you how to put the cover together or how to put the pages in the cover. So I'm going to redo that method because it's really one of my favorite and I think it'll go great with this. So I'm going to show you that. So of course you're going to want a pack of the companion junk journal kit with the different papers here with the ruled lines. And not that we're going to use all of it, but you're going to want that kit. And then you're going to want the this kit, the main kit, the collection. I've lost my cover sheet, but anyway, this one here with all the pretty pattern papers. I've got the full kit with all the ephemera here that I'm going to fussy cut out, so I'm going to use that. I will link all these down below in the video so that you can order some as well. There is another companion pack coming out. I don't have that, so I won't be using it on this video. And there's also the accessories kit that I do not have. Some of you were lucky and got it before it sold out, and they're working on getting more of those together, but I have a lot of different elements on my own that I save, which is similar to what those kits are. So I'll be pulling from that the ribbons, laces, trims, different papers that I have, old photos like this, like an old bingo card, different things that I can use to add in music sheets, letters, postcards, etc. So that's something you'll need. You're also going to need some type of string. You're going to have to decide what kind of string. This is a waxed string for book binding, for junk journaling that I bought. I can't even remember where I got it. Just probably a book binding company or something online, or Google waxed string. And so that's what I will be using on this one with a big needle here to stitch these signatures in that I'm going to be making. So I have that. Put my needle with it. Now if you don't have the waxed thread like this, don't worry about it. You can still do junk journals. You can use regular like embroidery floss that comes in different colors, the little packs that you can buy. I have some here somewhere. I've used it in different junk journals. You can use that, and even the jute twine that you can order from Country Craft Creations. So I'll try to remember to link that down below, which is like this. It's the same thickness. It just isn't waxed, but it will work for your junk journal. So you can use something like this. So don't fret that you don't have exactly what I'm using for your junk journal, because anything will work. You could even use, though you wouldn't do it through a needle, you could use ribbon and stuff to put your pages in. The other thing that you might want is some different papers, like copy paper, and I'm saying copy, C-O-P-Y, copy paper, the 8.5 by 11. And you can use it just like this, or you can coffee or tea dye it. I don't drink coffee, but I have some instant coffee here for dyeing if I decide to. It's messy, it's time consuming. You've got to do it, let it dry in the oven, watch it, put it outside. Right now it's too windy outside for us because March is here, and March is always super windy in North Texas, so it would blow away. You can do that, or you can do it with your inks. I've done that, like what I call faux tea dyeing with inks. You can use that, or I'm thinking of what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in, and I'm going to cut these down to size. I'm going to cut me an 8.5 by 11, but this is the new parchment. Well, it's not new, they've had it a while, but I haven't used it that much, so it's kind of new to me. Parchment paper from Country Craft Creations. This is the artisan parchment paper. I think that would work great. See, it's got that speckly, or whatever you call that, aged look. And you can just add some more ink to it. So I think I'm going to try that in there. So I'll link that down below. And then I also pulled out these two pinks. I haven't decided which one. These are the vellum. I'm thinking the darker one maybe. The vellum papers from Country Craft Creations. I bought them, and I really haven't used them. I kind of forget about them, but I think they'll be great for junk journals. So I think I'm going to use this darker pink, but you could pick different colors. But it's already 8.5 by 11. I think that would make a really pretty page in there in that book. So we're going to give that a try. I'm pretty sure that's the vellum paper. I haven't bought anything else, I don't think, of different kinds of papers. It's kind of thick. Let's see what this one is. When it says vellum, it doesn't mean it's that see-through. It's the type of fibers, I think. I'm not into all the different kinds of papers, but I know that the papers here are the vellum, Bristol linen vellum. So let's see, this is thick too. But it is very, very pretty paper. So something like that would work. Okay, so anything else? Of course, your adhesive, you're going to want glue. You can use art glitter glue. I've also been known to use a glue stick. With junk journaling, it just depends on that. I like this Yoo-Hoo stick magic blue. Sometimes I use that. Usually it's the art glitter glue for my assembly, but the great thing about these is these pages are done for you. See, like this one's already been folded. I folded it up, and I've already got a page for a signature. So this is going to be fun. It's going to be super easy to do. If you've never done one, just relax and enjoy the process. I can't think of anything else to tell you that you might need. This is where we're going to start. Of course, anything like old envelopes or things like that, or you might want your envelope punch board. We'll probably make some envelopes to go in this. And we're just going to have a good time. I don't know how many videos there'll be. This is the start of it, so we'll definitely get the cover made, and we'll see how far we get along with this one, how much time I use on it. So let's get started on a junk journal. We'll make the cover first. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to make my cover out of the heavyweight chipboard that I have cut down 2 pieces to 6 by 8.5. That's the size I want to make to accommodate those pages, the 8.5 by 11 pages. So with junk journals, you can make your cover with whatever material you want to use. You can use an old cereal box and cut it down, and it already has the spine. You can use a file folder, cut it to size, and then use the fold of it as your spine section, or you just cut it apart and use the 2 pieces. It doesn't have to be heavyweight. It can be the lightweight chipboard, whatever you want to do. But this is what I'm going to be using for mine. You can actually use old books or new books, like I did on the Bridgerton junk journal. You take the book apart and use the cover of the book to make your junk journal. You can make junk journals of little golden books, which Tamara right now is doing some tutorials on that, and I have a tutorial on my channel as well using a junk journal, so you can use those for different looks for your cover, and you don't even have to put patterned paper on the front. They already got the image on the front. So cut 2 pieces of, if you're following along exactly with me on this one, 2 pieces of chipboard that are 6 by 8.5. I have 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11 burgundy cardstock. You can use any color you want. You could use black, you could use the parchment, you could use summer ivory, the white, whatever you want to use. Now, usually in doing your cover, you cut it so that this is, the cardstock is 1 inch bigger on the ends and the side, which would make, you would cut 2 that are 8 by 10.5. But actually, you can just have a bigger wrap. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you that junk journaling doesn't involve a lot of trimmer or measuring or whatever. You can actually just use what you have. So I'm going to put glue on the one side of a piece of chipboard. Just put it on there like that. If you want to use score tape, you can, or score tape sheet, but it's not necessary. And I'm just going to center it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it on there, flip it over, smooth it out with my hands, take my bone folder, and then also burnish it. And I'm going to go ahead and do the other one the same. Set this one aside and let it dry. So glue on this one. Now in junk journaling, if you want the chipboard fixed spine, you can do that if you want. That makes it more like an album. I just personally want the softer rounded spine, and I will show you that in just a second while these are drying. Flip this over, smooth out that glue, and burnish it. Okay, so we're going to let these 2 dry before we start wrapping. Let me show you the Bridgerton album that I did. It has the hard book cover front and back, but it has the paper spine that makes it curve there. See how that curve in there helps to helps with these bigger signatures. Couldn't even think what to call them, the signatures, and I'll have 2 in this, and that's what I'm going to put in this one is 2. So that's the type of spine I'm going to be making. It is the soft paper spine, and you can even do it in fabric if you wanted to. Okay, so let's take one of these, and I'm just going to do it like I normally do. I'm going to stand up the chipboard on all 4 sides, kind of get it to folding. Okay, and then you can go along and press along if you want to kind of bring it up a little more. Now, on my corners, I like to miter at an angle. You can cut out the squares if you want, if that's the way you like to do it. I just like to go ahead and cut at an angle about 1/16 of an inch. I have found that works a little better. I have done 1/8 of an inch from the tip, but that leaves a lot of cardstock. So just cut that off, toss those. Then I take my glue, and on the long sides, I like to do the long sides first. I don't know why. I put glue along the chipboard onto the cardstock, and then on the wing. And then I take my bone folder and fold that up, burnish. Okay, get that stuck down. Press some of that glue out on the ends here. I got a little bit too close to the edge with the glue. And then I like to run my bone folder across that. And turn it around and do the other side. Same thing. Fold it over and burnish. Okay. And now here you will take your bone folder, and where that little, this piece of cardstock extends where you cut it just a little bit, press that in towards the inside, right up against that chipboard. You could even use your fingernail if you wanted to. And I'm going to fold it over and take a look at it and make sure I have got it cut the way I wanted it. This one needs just a tiny bit trimmed off. There we go. And just do the same thing with your glue. Fold this over. Burnish. That gives you that mitered corner there. And then you do the other one the same way. You look at it and you make sure you burnish that in. And then fold it over and look at them. Okay, and now the glue. Super easy to wrap your cover. Burnish it really well. Okay, so we have one wrapped. I'm going to go ahead and wrap the other one off camera, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what we start doing next. Okay, so we have the two covers wrapped. This is the front outside. Flip them over. We need to put some paper on the inside to make them look finished. So I've taken one of these 8.5 by 11 in the light pink. I decided to go with that. And I'm going to cut the 11-inch side in half, which would be 5.5. Like that. And so that's going to fit over there, but I need to trim down the length. So we've got about 1/4 of an inch. See, the height of this was 8.5, was 6. So cut a 1/2 inch off of this. So we'll make this 8-inch. Cut both of these down to 8 inches. So we have two pieces that are 5.5 by 8. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and glue these down to finish off this inside section. Now you could use the printed paper if you wanted to. Of course, I'll be adding other stuff to this, like a pocket and different things, but I just decided to go with the solid for right now. So burnish that down. And so that is like what you would see inside of a book cover, where it's finished. Like this one here. This was the original book cover. It had a purple solid sheet inside the front and back. So that was original to the book cover. So that works like that. We'll do it on both of them. Okay, so now we're ready to start on the spine of the cover. So we've got our two front and back covers. We'll set those aside and then we'll work on the spine next. The outer spine for my junk journal is going to be with this pattern here. I love this deep burgundy and the pink here on this side, which is the back side of this with the journaling and the roses there. So you choose yours. So I'm going to use the full 8.5 length height of it, and I'm going to cut this down to 5.5. I'm cutting it in half. So right at 5.5. This is going to be the spine. This one I'm going to save. So that would also work for a spine. It just depends on which one you prefer. Okay. Now then, this is the branding sheet from the Junk Journal collection. and it is also 8.5 by 11, and I'm going to cut it down to 5.5. I'm going to use the white side on the backing of this. Save this one. You could use it for something else. So put my trimmer side. So this is what I want on the outside of my spine. This I want to double it up to make it a little stronger. You can use, I didn't tell you this as a supplies, but I think I'm going to be using score tape sheet or scraps of my score tape sheets to make it lay down smooth. I don't want it buckling up. So let's see what I got here. That one, and then I can use a strip of tape. Okay, let me grab my tape. So this needs to be cut down to 8.5 in height, because I think it's a little longer. Let me see. Just probably a tad. It's kind of hard to measure it. But there's where we want it. Just cut a little bit off. Just a tiny bit, because I don't want it sticking over. Okay. Now then we'll put this on. I'm going to put it on this branding sheet here. So I'm just going to peel some of it off so I can line it up, because I never can line them up right. Probably should be using my scoreboard as a guide, but here we go. Put this all the way to the end. Right there. Okay, that did pretty good. Yay. Save this sheet because we can use it for tape. I'll show you how to make faux aged Scotch tape, gift wrap tape. We'll use that backing if you use that. And then because I've got this here, I'm going to add a strip of 3/8 right there. Okay. So yeah, I do like to use score tape where I need things to stay flat. So I'm going to peel this off here. And then we're going to attach this to the back of our spine piece. I know you don't like covering up this pretty piece here, but it'll be okay. So let's try to make sure we line this up from this corner here at the very bottom. Pretty close. Maybe off a little bit on this side here, but it'll be okay. I can cover that up with lace or something that I put on there. So now we have this. So that just makes it a double thickness, and it's going to curve just slightly like that. Okay, so now we take the cover. Now we're going to attach this to the outside. So I'm going to line this up as straight as I can on my grid. I'm going to use my grid here, and I'm going to put this edge right here, a 1/2 inch over. So I'm going to line up the edge at the 1/2 and the 1/2 down here. So I'm going to put glue about 1/2 inch on the edge. Like that. Make sure that's the right direction. Line this edge at the 1/2 and this one at the 1/2, and make sure they're even. There should be exactly 8.5 with the cover top and bottom here. Just wipe off any glue. Okay, there we go. Like that. And then the other side's going to be the same thing. We're going to flip this over. Let's line it up on the grid so it's nice and even. And this back side here is going to attach down at 1/2 inch. So flip this over quickly and put glue on this. And then line this up at 1/2 inch and at 1/2 inch. That makes it straight. And we burnish. Okay, so let's let that dry and before we roll it up. So we'll let it dry for just a bit. Okay, I've let it dry for a few minutes. Everything's set and ready to pick up and gently curve, and that is the junk journal cover. Of course, it's not going to do anything until we actually put stuff inside of it, but there it is. You can clip it together or leave it flat until you're ready to add your pages. But yeah, I love the way it looks. It's going to be so pretty once we put stuff on it. Some ribbons, some lace. Yeah. Now you may think that's a little thick for junk journal, but I think it's going to be just perfect. It is wider than my Bridgerton one a little bit. A few inches or so, but you could make the spine smaller if you wanted to, but I think it's going to work out great. So you can adjust that if you want, but that is our spine, and we're ready to start on some pages. Okay, and looking at this, I have decided that the spine is too wide. So I'm taking my tool here, and just on the back side, I'm going to slide it under here and remove the spine on this one edge. And it's okay, I'm going to trim it down. So you see where it is glued down, and that's okay. Don't panic. So this was, the spine section was 5.5. I really think I need to take about 1 inch off. So I'm going to take my trimmer. So I'm going to change the size of the spine for this one. Take 1 inch off. I'm going to change it to 4.5. So cut 1 inch off the side here. There. No problem. Just take that one off. You can keep it or throw it away. You can use it for a belly band or something. Take your back cover again. And then we're going to re-glue this right there. I think that will work better. So let me grab my glue and just put glue here where the original was. So sometimes in creating you have to make some changes. So no big deal. I'd rather do it now than think up later that I needed to. So I'm going to line this up so I can see my 1/2 inch for sure. Right there. And right there. Clean that off. And like I said, there'll probably be lace or something over that anyway. So burnish that really good and let that dry. So there, I think that's going to be a much better size. I'm going to let that dry. And then next I'll start working on my papers for my signatures. So really burnish that down and let that dry. Okay, so the cover where I readjusted it has dried, and there's our cover, and we're ready to work on the signature pages. So I've been playing around with it, so I picked out one of each of the prints, including the one that I used on the cover, from the the main pack. So I have 4 of those on each side, and then I cut down 4 sheets of the parchment down to 8.5 by 11, and I have 2 on each side, and then I have 1 of each of the little copy papers, little plain ones. I decided to go with the ruled from the companion pack in the sepia tone. So I have 2 on each side, and I'm going to show you how to fold these and how to put them together. And then I also added in 1 of the light pink on each side, and I'm going to add in 2 dark ones. So I'm going to show you how to fold these in half. So you take your 8.5 by 11 papers, and you don't have to use a scoreboard. You know, you can score in half if you want to, but that's not necessary. I just line them up on the sides even as best I can, and then I take my bone folder and press it down in the middle, or your finger, and then just holding over here, just press it out and then get a good crease. So that is how you do a page for their signature. So you just line it up, press down in the middle, and then burnish it out. And it looks like it's going to be all wrinkly, but it smooths out with that bone folder. I'll show you here on one of these. It's exactly the same. You just, whichever way you want it to go, you line it up, press it down, and burnish it out with your fingers, or you can even use your bone folder like that. So that's how you do one like that. So that one I don't need. I also decided to add in some music note. This is vintage music note paper. So I did the same thing, folded them in half, and then burnished them. Now they're going to stick out longer, and that's going to be okay. This one may be smaller. So let's take this one here is going to be my first signature. And you can arrange them in any way you want. So I'll show you. I put this one down. This is what's on the cover. So I put it with this out. Then I added in a light pink. And then I added this music note. And then I think I'm going to do this one here, like that. A parchment, a ruled, I think I'll dark pink here, another print. And you, like I said, you can turn it any way you want, in or out. Parchment, this one here, a ruled one, and there's that little copy paper inside. So that is the first one, first signature like that. Now, when you put them together, you notice you've got the uneven. They're not perfectly even. You've got them uneven sticking out. That's because it's in this space. There's not enough space in there. It's going to do that with junk journals. You can trim it with a guillotine cutter if you want to. I am not. I'm going to leave them uneven because honestly, once they're in there and you add your laces and everything, it's really not going to make a difference. So this one here, I have this print here. Then I added a parchment. I think I'm going to put my music note here. And this is the one that's going to stick out more. And that's okay. A ruled one. A light pink print. I did copy paper there. A print. A ruled. I think I'll put the dark pink there. Another print. I think I'm going to flip this one. And so you can do that. You can flip them if you think you want that the other way. A parchment. And then I wrote this print here. And then that's that signature. Whoops, right there. Now you see how that music note sticks way out, even in height. Let's see here. Do we want to center it a little more? Some of it sticking out the top and the bottom, like that. And you can always trim it with your scissors or tear it. Doesn't really matter. Well, I keep not getting it top and bottom here. So that's lined up there, and that's like about 1/4 of an inch sticking out at the top and the bottom. And then there. So they don't have to be the same sizes. If you want some smaller, pages, you can cut them out like that. So then this one would go in like this, and that would work. Okay. So now we need to make a couple of envelopes, because I'm going to show you how to hide your thread on the inside. If you don't like that, you may want to have some of it showing. I have this one here that's smaller. I think I'm going to show you that. I'm going to add that one in. Signatures don't necessarily have to be even. I'm going to put that one in here. And then put it like that. Now, it may not get caught in the threading, and that's okay. It's just one of those that could be extra in there. So, envelopes. We're going to make some envelopes with our envelope punch board. Or if you don't have one, you can just use regular envelopes, that card envelopes or whatever, and you can add pattern paper to them. So let me grab my envelope punch board, and then we'll make those next. I have picked out two of the papers from the collection, and I'm going to make let's see, trying to see which one I want. 3.5 by 5, 3.5 by 5 maybe. So if we make a 3.5 by 5, we're going to cut our papers down to 7.25 by 7.25. So cut this away. This I'm going to keep the roses if I can. Maybe 7.25. Save this piece, of course. You can make a pocket out of that. 7.25 by 7.25. Okay, we got that. Let's do this way, 7.25 by 7.25. Okay, so we have those two pieces. So now we'll make those into envelopes. So with your punch board, I'm going to line up with the paper looking at me the right direction. Put this at the top. So we would line this up at 3 1/8. I'm going to punch it and then put this in here and score. Now you turn it so that the score line lines up with your marking notch here thing, pointer, which actually puts it at 4, and I'm going to punch and score, turn, and do the same thing again. You want to line that up. That puts it back at, should be 3 1/8, I believe. It's kind of hard to see with the pattern paper where your line goes, but no, it's bigger. Trying to see it. Sorry about that. 3 1/8, punch, score, turn, line it up, and that puts it at 4, and score. Okay, so now we have that. Now you just need to decide, which side you want out, because you're going to see it when you flip it. Or do we want it this way? Let me look. It'll be sealed up in our book. The heart there, and we flip that. Yep, that's the way I want it, like that. So now I'm going to burnish my lines. Fold lines where I've got it folded up. We're not going to touch this down, but we are going to touch this, and we can go ahead, and I like to take my corner rounder. You can use the one on your punch board, but I like to round the points of this. Like that. Just to kind of soften the edges. So I did all 4 corners. Then this is your part that comes up. These come over. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue on these edges and then just glue it down. And that makes the envelope. That's going to go into the center of our signature page. So it's going to go right there in the center. And then when we do our string, we seal it up and we have that. Okay, so there's that one. We'll make the other one the same way. I'm going to put this to the top, 3 1/8. I'm going to line it up, punch it, score, turn, line it up, and with that point it comes to about 4. Turn, this will line up at about 3/8 again. Okay, 4. Okay, so there it is. We don't need the punch board anymore. Set that aside. Throw these little bits away. Go ahead and round the corner points. Oops. And now decide which way we want our envelope to fold up. With the pink out. So it would be like that. Or do we like the roses? So that's pretty like that. So I'm going to do that. So now I put my glue here. And seal that up. Okay, so that's ready for the other signature right here, like that. Or we can even do it that away. Yep, I'm going to do it like that. Okay. So next we're ready to sew these into the book. Okay, so I've stacked up all my papers even, top and bottom, side to side, the best I can. And this short one here, it's almost lined up right. It's fine. It's about a 1/4 inch down. I made sure it's on the fold of the page here. And I took temporary tape and taped down these smaller pieces here, the envelope, because I can rub it off, and I taped this one down as well so that I could mark this out. And I forgot to mark this one with the pen, but I took my centering ruler. Since this is 8 1/2, I put it at 4 1/4 on each side. 4 1/4, 4 1/4 if you have a centering ruler, center finding ruler. And then I marked the center here. And then I marked it at 3 and 3 because I came in at about 1 1/4 inches from the edge. And that's where the stitching is going to go. Now, we're not going to stitch it to the cover. We're going to stitch it to a album piece here. And this one is one of those cutoffs that we had. So I'm going to cut it down to 3 1/2. It's a little over that. It's the right height, but it does need to be 3 1/2. So I'm just going to, it doesn't matter which side, but I'm going to cut it down to 3. Just back it off a little bit so it's a little, about a 1/16 of an inch off a 3.5. Make it a little bit narrow so we can glue that into the spine. So there's that piece, and that is going to be what we put our signatures on. So let's carefully move this aside for right now. And this is going to be like, so this is our spine piece section right in here. This is going to fit right in here. Okay, so that's the 3.5. So we'll find the center of this is about 1 7/8, or is it? No, I always get that wrong. 1 3/4, just under 1 3/4, because we made it a little shorter. So we have the center right here. Okay, so the center of this section here should be about 7/8. So I counted 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and put me a mark there. Okay, so that's where that's going to line up. So that's where I want my first signature here and my second one here. I don't want it here on the center. Just like that. Now then, we're going to lay this so that I can, now Country Craft Creations is going to have these tools that we can use to line up our pages and poke our holes through, and I can't wait to get one. But until I get that, I'm going to have to rely on this. So I'm going to line this up where that line about should be, where that line is. See my top and the bottom right there. There's that line that I marked. So I have 7/8 all the way down. I'm going to drop this page down carefully, and I'm going to scoot my clip to hold that piece. And let me see how that looks. Did I get it centered? Looks about right. Okay, we got that right there. So now I'm going to take this all and I'm going to poke through this where I made these holes, and I really have to twist it to get it to go all the way through. This is where the needle is going to go through. And then this one down here. There we go. Oops, it didn't go through my paper. I need to have it clipped. Go through again. There we go. Through that backing paper. And then we need one here in the center. Watch your fingers. Don't want to get your fingers in there. Get that hole started. There we go. Now then, I have put my wax thread, probably about a yard or more wax thread where I have a good tail here, and I'm going to go through all the pages and that backing right back here. Go all the way through, pull it through. Okay, and leave a tail sticking out here. Okay, so we have that. Now we're going to go through the one of the other holes from the outside down in. See how it comes through that hole? Bring it up, pull it till it stops. Then I'm going to take this and go in that center hole again. Make sure you're not getting hung up on your binder clips there. So I have that. I'm going to go through this other hole. Make sure I'm lining up where my hole is. There we go. So bring that up. Just have to wiggle it back and forth to get it to come through. And that's the great thing about the wax thread. It does hang on really tight. Now I'm going to go, because I'm just doing the 3 holes, I'm going to go down again into this center hole, and I need to make sure this one's tight enough. There we go. Just pull all your strings until it tightens flat up against it. So go down again, pull, and I'm going to go through this top one again. Here, like that. Make sure I have enough thread. Then I'm going to go down all the way down through the bottom one. I'm just trying to make sure that everything's secure, and I want it to finish up by coming up the center. So I've got it coming. There we go. Now I got to get my tail pulled loose here. There we go. So then I'm going to take it through the center one last time. Right there. Okay. Then I can take the needle off, and I have a thread there that I can tie a knot. And with the waxed one, it really snugs up because it stays. And I'll do a double knot like that, and then I'm going to cut that off. Take everything loose, and then I can seal this envelope up. I'm going to take this flap, rub off my temporary, and I'm going to take glue, and I'm just going to seal up my envelope. My glue is set for a bit, so let me take a pin and see if I can get that cleared out. If not, I have to have a longer one. Put glue around there, around where the thread comes through, and I'm just going to seal this all up. And what that does is it seals that tie there, and then when this pulls up, we take all this temporary off. I'll get all that off of there in a minute. But anyway, there we have the center page flap, and then we have our page signature attached to this piece that's going to go into the spine. So now we're ready to put the other one on. So this one kind of slipped down here. I've got a little wide down here, but that's going to be okay. I think it'll be all right. So we flip this over like this, and now we're going to put our other one on this side. So let me just take a few minutes to get everything lined up on it. So we have this little envelope here. We don't have any shorter pages. We just have this longer one here. But I want to make sure I kind of center it evenly. Right. Top and bottom. Like that. These all go together. So having that long one there, it makes it just a little harder to get these lined up. So I am going to trim this down to 8.5, just to make it easier. It's okay to have it longer, but I think it's easier if they're the same size. So let's do 8.5, cut this, turn this around this way, 8.5, cut this wide part off right there. Okay, so we don't need that. Just think that's going to make it easier for us in the long run. So we'll put this one back, all these back together. So they're all 8.5 now. Push them all into it. Here we go. So this one's a little wider. That's okay. I'm going to open it up to the center. And we have this envelope, and I was going to put it this direction. So I'm going to turn this sideways. Got everything lined up in the center. And let's get our center ruler. And I said this was 4 1/4. We line this up at 4 1/4 right there and right there. And that gives us our center. that. And I put it at 3 on each side. 3 and 3. Okay, now we need to clip these to make sure everything stays straight for now. Let me grab another big clip. Oh yeah, I need to tack this down. Hang on a second. Forgot to put the temporary glue on it, tape on it. So we've got it lined up in the fold. I'm going to put some temporary on this part here so it stays where it belongs. And then we've got it on this side. We'll do the same. That just helps to hold it because I can't get the clip in there. Okay, everything lined up, and we got that. Now we need to put this into this other piece. So we got this, like, folded it up. Bring our addition here, and this is supposed to have been at about an inch in. Yep. So 1 inch in, about right there. Let's line this up here on the grid. Put that down. Place this one on the inch. A little over. I'm just going to bring it over a little bit. So that does leave this space in here, and that's okay. So once I have it lined up, now I'm going to press it down and try to clip this under piece right there. Make sure it's even. Okay. Lift it up from the bottom and clip it there. So I'm just checking to make sure I have the same amount. Straighten this one up a little bit. Okay, so now I'm ready to get my thread. We've got everything pretty much lined up the best we can, and make sure it's on the fold line, and I'm going to poke it through with this little awl. I have a bigger one somewhere. I don't know where I put it. Which would probably be better because this is really thick paper. Just trying to, there we go. Get it through there. And then this, stay where you belong. This one here where we marked it. Just be very careful. Flip, an envelope fell off. I'll just have to put it back in a minute. There we go. And then this last one. Really thick paper here. There we go. Okay, now my envelope flipped around on me, so this was the top, and I wanted it this way. Get some more temporary here to help hold it down. Okay, now then, needle and thread. Go ahead and stitch the signatures in the same way that I showed you before, by starting up in the middle, then going down through one of the outer ones and back in and out, and secure it on the inside. Go. Make sure it pulled. Take the needle off. I had plenty of string that time. And now we're going to tie a couple of knots. 1, 2. Go ahead and take these clips off. I'm going to go under this one and tie that in. There we go. Okay, cut those off. And then we pull this up, rub our temporary off. I'll clean it all off good in a minute. And let's glue this shut. Straighten it up. There we go. Seal that up. Get that temporary off of it. And there is a flap in the center. Okay. So there's our 2 signatures in. Did have a little bit of tear in there on that one I didn't like. I'm going to take tape and I'm going to secure that right there. Right there. And you can do that anywhere you feel where the stitching came through, maybe that you need to add tape across there. Just to secure it. Okay, so now we have this like this, and that's what's going to glue into our book. So you have the wings like that, the 2 signatures. So next we'll be putting that into our book. Next we prep the inside of our cover spine, and I put strips of score tape, 3/8 inch, put 1 along each edge, and then 3 in the center left spacing because I am going to use glue as well. And I'm just going to take the backings off. Okay, just like that. Okay, because I think that it needs both glue, and the tape will help hold it down to dry and keep it from warping out, and the glue will help secure it. So I'll put glue in between the score tape. Okay. Okay, so let me pay attention to which is my top. This is the top here. This is the top. Make sure we're going in. So now you have this piece like this with your stitching in. And I know this is different from other junk journals you may have watched. It's just the way I decided to do it because I don't want the strings on the outside of my book. I just think it's more secure this way. And that's what I prefer. So we're going to match this right up on one side here. Top to bottom and side to side. I'm matching this edge to the edge of the book. Pressing this one down right there. And then I'm going to swing it around and do it on the other side. I'm going to burnish that side here. And then in between, I'm also going to burnish. Okay, so that one's in, and you can see that I did have this one off a little bit on one side, but it's going to work out okay when we put all our stuff in. Okay, so now we've got that burnished in like that, and then we fold this around it, and we have our pages in our junk journal. Just need to make sure they stay in the cover, kind of bend everything to get everything in place. There we go. So when we open it up, we have our junk journal pages. Of course, they're going to get thicker with stuff that we add in. So we're going to start decorating next. Just want to make sure everything is in here good. And any place you have imperfections, we will cover that with lace and different trims. So that's the pages in the book, and now we're ready to start working with our decorating. And you'll notice it pops up, and that's why I always put a tie around it, or a tie closure. So we'll add stuff like that to it. And yeah, we could have made this cover just a little bit even shorter in here, but I still like it because it gives us room to add stuff in it and stuff that's going to stick out. So we'll start doing the decorating next. Okay, so I have papers laid out, trying to figure out what I want to do for decorating. I'm going to start on the cover. I did get my page just where they don't quite fit in right, but yeah, they're going to be okay. Okay, on this front cover, it's so hard when you have so many pretty papers. And first I'm going to get some ink, and I like to use a brush. You can use the sponges. I like to use the brush, and I want to do some inking. And on this one, I just I cut it in half. I have two pieces of this. I just cut it in half at 5.5. So I have two pieces. I'm going to use pink on the back. I'm going to put this, I think, on the front, and I wanted a little bit of this burgundy showing under here. This is the hard part of actually getting it to where you want it to look like. So let me find my ink that I want to use, and then we'll start doing some inking and do the front cover and the back cover, and then we'll just keep seeing what we can do with everything. And I'll show you how to do some fussy cutting of your elements that you have that come with this collection, if you don't have the Brothers Scan and Cut, which I don't have. So I'll be doing fussy cutting, and I'll show you a couple of ways to do that. Okay, so I have my distressing, my tea dye. I'm going to see how that looks. And I'll just pick some up on the brush. I hope it's not dried out a whole lot. See where I tore that? And you can see the white. I'm going to go in on this and ink that to make it look aged. Right there where that tear is, and then ink some of the edges here. I like this ink up in here with the where the lace is, the lace design. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to glue this one down. Get a pretty good amount of glue on it so that it doesn't have any edges that stick up. I'm going to line it up down here at the corner on the bottom. And then you can see where that torn is there. You can still see burgundy under there. Burnish that down, and this seam is going to be covered with ribbon and lace, pretty sure. Now I have this piece that was left over from some other cutoff, and I'm going to use this rose side here, but I'm going to cut this down, and instead of using my trimmer, I'm just going to take my ruler, because it doesn't have to be perfect, a metal ruler, about a 1/2 inch I think, and I'm just going to rip that off. A little bit of it still snagging right there. I'll take my scissors and trim that off. And then we're going to ink that. And you see I tore a corner off, tore that heart that was right there, tore that off. So I'm going to ink that. Because I want to put this on here. I wanted it shorter so you could see that part there, and then you can see this in here. So we'll glue that down. I wanted that layer look. You could tear that if you wanted to. I'm just going to leave it straight. So for now, that's the front cover with this layered look. So just make sure this sticks down here. Now I'm not done decorating it, but I do have the patterned paper on it that I want on the front, because I'll be adding other stuff. So I'm going to flip this over, and here on the back, I want this piece here that has the little butterfly, and it's the pink color. I'm just going to decide if I want to tear off some of this. So I think I'm just going to tear off a corner and ink that. Okay, so I'm going to glue that on there. See, I see some of the burgundy there, but I think I want something else under there. So let's see what we got. Scrap of something. Yeah, that corner I tore off, I'm just going to reverse it. Ink that a little bit. And glue that on the corner. Right here. And then this one's going to go back over that. Let me move it up a little bit. I'll glue this one on. Leave it here, and it there. Okay, so for now I like that, where it's kind of like torn there. We got the butterfly down here. And like I said, it's not completely done, but that's the start of the front of the cover. So now I'm going to do some fussy cutting with some of the elements and get those ready to use. Okay, so these are the sheets of the elements in the collection. Like we have the titles here with some roses and an envelope. A little Polaroid here, a stamp. Those are really easy to cut. Then we have some tags. And we have pockets. There's some more like the faux washi tape and the tabs and some other elements here. Put that on the front. And then I pull this out because I love this butterfly, but I think I may want to fussy cut that out just because I can change it up, make it more dimensional. So anyway, let's take this first sheet here. And I have here real small scissors that I use sometimes. I can even do it with regular scissors. Got glue and gunk all over my scissor. And this is a gyro knife. Now I haven't used it a whole lot, but I do like when I use it. It has a blade on it that swivels, and you use it like a pin. So I always keep the little rubber cap on it so I don't cut myself. So you hold it like a pin, and you put that blade down on what you're cutting out, and you just start tracing around it. Now I'm going to get it started first. Trace around it, and I kind of turn the paper with it, and you got to press down and then see where my cut goes. Let me see if I'm pressing down enough. Yeah, I am. Just double checking. So get that blade in there, and then you just, like with a pen, I kind of hold it up higher than some people do so I can actually see what I'm doing. And it blade just swivels around, and then there we got the point there. And I'm going to move my paper, come on down on that key. So I just want to show you that there are other tools you could get that are less expensive than a Brother Scan and Cut. I mean, I would love to have one, but I don't know. I like fussy cutting, and I know me. I have a Cricut. I mean, not a Cricut. I have a, what is that? The switch for cutting with dies, and I find that I just don't get up and go use it that much. I mean, when I do, I like it. So see, you can just pull that blade down, just like you're drawing. I do like to turn it so that I'm going the right direction sometimes, or restart it right there, that little point, especially on these smaller things. So, oops, kind of slipped out there around the bow. Then the top of the key. You just got to keep that blade, and make sure you're on a mat. You don't want to do this on your table at all. Okay, I think I got it. And then, da-dum, I have fussy cut that out. And I did that with the gyro, so it didn't take me very long. There's a couple of spots here that I could trim up with the that I didn't go into with my scissors. I can get closer into the bow. Right here, this little piece here. But cut it out pretty good. I like the gyro on flowers. I use it a lot for flowers. But you see, with your little scissors, you can get in there and do some of the detail. Just like that. So there's that piece cut out. Just clean up a little bit on the edge here. So that's one tool, or just the scissors. Scissors work really good. I'm going to clean that up right there. Get a little V in there. Okay, so that is fussy cutting with a gyro and scissors. In here, I didn't get that out really good. Okay, so, and then of course you've got, you know, your washi tapes. They're real easy to cut. Like this. It's kind of a curvy line. And once you get it cut down small enough, you know, you can get in there and cut your jaggedy lines if you want. Mostly it's just moving the paper versus moving the scissors. Get that straight edge there going. like that. There's a piece of washi tape like that. And I would probably use my bigger scissors like for this piece here. Go ahead and cut it out so that I can have it just instead of the full page. But then just go ahead and cut your edges. And with something like this, where it's got that little paper clip there, I'm going to cut it out for right now, but I probably would actually add in a real paper clip to that into my junk journal. So there is a photo that you can add in, just like that one. And of course you might want to ink the edges some, like that. So I'm going to lay that right there. There's my washi tape. So I'm not going to do this all on camera because it would take probably up a lot of time. But you get the idea. If you don't have the scan and cut, you can still fussy cut all these pieces out, which is what I'm going to do. And I like to cut them out as I use them. A lot of times I don't cut everything out all at once. But I just thought I would show you how easy it is to use scissors. I really probably use the medium size like this one more than I do the smaller one, just because it fits easier in my hand. And then we got that. There we go. And let's see here, what else could we cut with maybe the gyro? This locket possibly with the gyro because of the center, especially the center. So let me get the gyro. And right here, we got that center piece to cut out. There it goes. So see, that one's out. And then I can cut the rest of it out with my scissors if I want, or the gyro, either one. I'm just so used to using scissors on lots of things that works really good for me. So we got the locket, got a key cut out. There you go. So lots of fun, lots of different embellishments here that you can cut up. You've got a wax seal here. It's kind of fun to put on an envelope. And to some of these you can add dimension by adding some glossy accents or the glaze, the Nouveau glaze. If you've never done that, I can show you that while you're putting it into a book. There's that. So lots of fun. I think I'll cut me another washi tape sheet. And oh yeah, I'm going to show you how to do the faux Scotch tape. I love doing the faux Scotch tape. So let me cut this one out, and then I'm going to cut some more of these others out for you. And then if you want to make these really jaggedy looking, you could just take a ruler on some of them and just pull up and tear. See there, you've got, that looks like a rough edge where you actually tore it. For So got to get that little piece up. There you go. And you ink the end where it's torn. And there you go. So there's that. Let's look at this over here. We have this envelope here. So this I would just cut out with my scissors. And then you don't have to even use a scoreboard on this. I would just look at it and fold and burnish the sides where the tabs are. That's what's sticking out. And then you can fold this down like this, line that up. And bring this one up like this. And there you have that envelope there that can go in a pocket. Actually, it needs to be a little straighter here. I'm going to do it right here. I'm going to put a ruler here and just bring it down. And that's why you might want to use a scoreboard, but you don't have to. And then where that crease was on there, that just looks like where it's old. And I'm going to ink that. So you can see the lines where it was folded. So ink your lines or your edges. This one here needs to be folded in a little bit more. Right there. Okay, then I ink it. And I would ink the inside here. If you're going to use it to put something in, you want that to look old. Kind of ink it there up instead of the real white. So I'd ink all that. Okay, like that. There you have an envelope to tuck in. You could take your seal and put that on there like it's sealed up. Of course, right here you could glue these shut on your edges here. Seal that up on the sides. There you have a little envelope you can put a note in. Like that. So that's what that would look like that. There's our seal. Okay. Of course, these are self-explanatory. You would just fussy cut those all out. And these are tags that you can cut out and then punch the holes. These are pockets. They're real easy too. This is like cut here at the angle. Jacqueline has a separate how-to video, especially for those of you using the scan and cut, to show you how to set it up and use it, and then also how to assemble all these. So you might want to check out her video too. So like here, I would just fold and burnish. that one over a little bit more. There we go. So we don't see that line. And then this one here. And there's a pocket. And so you would just, you know, glue all this down into your book. And I would also ink that. I may get an ink that's a little darker. And there is a pocket for one of your junk journal pages. So like I said, and that's the same way with these. These are pockets also, and then these are just items that you can tuck into your pockets, like just different kinds of cards. Especially if you don't have any accessories, old vintage stuff, then you could use these to add into your junk journal pockets. Then you could use the back sides to you know, add a photo if you wanted to. Okay, so that is how you do some fussy cutting with your scissors and tools. And then, like I said, I like this butterfly. So even out of your paper that's not necessarily your ephemera bits or sheets, if you see something you want, like I love the butterfly. So I think I want to cut him out. That way I can make him more dimensional. I'm going to cut him out with the gyro and then probably straighten up some of it. Whoops, let me move all this out of the way. Let's start up here. I'm going to start up here at the top. There we go. Get it running the right direction. So that part's cut out. And then you can also use this tool to make slits and make inserts. Okay, let's see how well we did. Okay, right there. And I attempted to cut out the antenna. I think I missed right in here, the head. And then across the end here. Okay. See, I cut out the antenna pretty good. There's a couple of spots where I need to clean up a little bit with the scissors. But there's my butterfly. Okay. I like that. That looks like fun. And I've got other elements in here I could cut out. I like the different letters if I want to do, like put them on some foam tape or lift them up like this one here. I like that one since I've already fussy cut on this page. So this kind of goes down here. So this way you could just add some dimension if you wanted to, like that. I remembered that I said I would show you how to make some faux gift wrap tape, Scotch tape, vintage, make it vintage to look like it's really old. So like for example, this is one of the cards from the elements of this collection, this Petals and Letters, and I just tore the edge and inked it, and then I put a piece of tape I'd already made from before on there to show what it looks like when you add a piece of tape that you have made vintage tape out of. So you need a backing sheet from your score tape. When you use it on your album, you just keep your backing sheets so that you have a sheet that you can pull the tape off of, and then you take your score tape, your Scotch tape, your gift wrap tape, and just tear off pieces of that, different links that you want to add some ink or stain to. So I'll just lay them all different links out here on this backing sheet. And I'm using the narrow tape. I've remembered to buy some. Last time I didn't have any in the narrow. You can use the wider too, it's okay. So I just put several on here. And I'm going to show you two different ways to do it depending on what you have in your stash. My favorite way to do it is with alcohol ink. Fizzy, you're okay. That's my cat, Fizz. He thinks he wants to go outside, but it's kind of cool and windy. He doesn't really like it out there, so I don't know why he thinks he wants to go. So get your tape out like that. So now we have it ready. I already have these done. First way is to take, I use a paper towel, a Viva paper towel that I can throw away. And I just put drops of the alcohol ink on my tapes that I'm going to stain up. And if it can get darker in some sections, that's fine. Okay, those, and I'm using the ginger color. I like that the best, kind of the brownish color. And then I start wiping it. You know, kind of hurry up so I don't get a lot of too many blotches, but you want it to be dark in some spots, a little bit lighter in others. So I just keep rubbing it off like that. Quickly get it spread out over the tape, and it just stains it up. Whoops, that one I need to add some more to it. Right there, let that one sit too long. Kind of looks funky. This one here too. And just rub it in. Here we go. I'll straighten that one up. Okay, so that's all you do, is you stain up the clear tape, and you have it on there, and you just peel it off when you need it. Now, if you don't have alcohol ink, then you can take some ink, an ink pad. This is the Catherine Pooler Spice Color, got from Country Craft Creations. It's a very juicy ink, and I just pick up some on my brush and I brush it. You can use a foam dispenser or a foam like one of these, foam, and just rub it on, or your brush. And it doesn't get as dark, I don't think, as the alcohol inks, but you can just keep applying some over and over to that, and it kind of gives you the same effect as the alcohol inks, and just let that dry. So that is the tape. And then of course I'll show you again, like this little photo. Say if we, I'm going to just put some ink on it to ink it up. I mean, it's a real old photo, but I'm going to kind of tear this corner up here, like where it's torn. Kind of put a little ink on that. And then just take one of your tapes, peel it up. Still sticky back there. You'd even fold it in on itself. And then I just put a piece of tape on it, like I've repaired it. I can also use tape to like tape things down in the book, you know, just to make it look like that it was held on with the tape. So I love using the faux Scotch tape, vintage tape on my junk journals, and so that might be something you want to try. Okay. So far we have the cover made, 2 signature sets in there. I kept this one fairly simple for you with all the pages about the same size, just a few add-ins that are longer. I didn't do any folding or anything on the papers, which you can do before you put them in there. But we're going to make pockets. We're going to add in pockets. We're going to do something here on the inside covers. Of course, we'll be adding ribbon, lace, and all that to this. So I think for today, for this video, this will be part 1. So that you can kind of go ahead and get your cover made and some of your pages in, and then we'll start with the decorating and stuff, adding in extra things in the next video in a couple of days. So I'm going to go ahead and get this uploaded for you so that you can start working on this if you want, and check out the other Country Craft Creations designers that are doing projects with this collection, and see different ways. I'd get different ideas on how to make your junk journal and have fun with it. So I'll see you later. Bye-bye.